What's up, everybody? Welcome to this week's edition of the On Purpose Podcast, where it's our job to get you thinking, get you moving, maybe get you looking in that mirror, wondering if you're on cruise control a little bit. And this week, I got somebody on that's going to challenge you on that. My newest friend, Marty Hoffman, author of Kill Complacency and host of the Kill Complacency Podcast, a show built around raw, faith-driven conversations on recovery, resilience, and intentional living. I love that his work focuses on helping people confront the parts of their life where maybe they've gone numb, settled, or just stopped growing. Through honest stories about adversity, addiction, relationships, and rebuilding, he challenges listeners to live with purpose, stop drifting through life. And his mission is simple, and this is what really drew my attention, and that is kill complacency before it kills your potential. Marty, my newest friend, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Jerrod. It's a privilege to be here. I'm excited to get to know you and your guest or your audience and inspire them to live more on purpose.
Yeah, dude, I love it. I'm honored to have you here. And I love your message. I love not settling in life. I love not going numb. I think that's a big challenge that many of us face today.
Well, it's easy. It's easy because the world and our flesh tells us to lean into comfort. And I have a hat and it says comfort is a lie. And we all think we want it. We all think it's what we should strive for and have. But at the end of the day, it just leads to more and more discomfort because we don't get the disciplined life. We don't live the purposeful life. We always do the easy. And the easy doesn't get us where we want to go.
No, dude, easy never gets you where you want to be. And it's always crowded with other people not getting where they want to be.
Yeah.
All right, before we jump into this, Marty, I got to warm you up a little bit. I know you're a runner, you're a workout guy, so you understand the importance of a good warm-up before we hop into the hard stuff. So here's your first question. If your life has a theme song, what is your song?
Two songs came to my mind. The first song is the one I want played at my funeral. And it's one I've been singing since I was 2, and it's Jesus Loves Me. It's just a simple, clear message. Jesus loves me, this I know, for the Bible tells me so. The other one came to my mind, Jerrod, is that song, I get knocked down and I get up again. Like, it's what we do. We're resilient. We learn to be resilient. We don't give in. We continue to fight. We continue to do what's right. So, I know those kind of opposite messages there, but those were the two. Like, you hit me with that. Now, those were the two that came to my mind.
I love it. I'll take them both. What's something you've learned about yourself lately?
Something I would say is hard because I'm building this brand, Kill Complacency. And what I'm going to tell you is it's not easy. And it's not a one and done. And just because it's my branding and just because it's what I seek to do doesn't mean that I have it figured out. So don't put me in a glass box.
That's true. We're always learning. What's a favorite quote or a quote you lived by?
The man who does his best today is hard to beat tomorrow. My dad had that cut out years ago from a newspaper. It was in classified ads and he had it stuck on the fridge and I read it and I was like, oh, that's so good.
That is good. That's powerful too, right? That's a good one. What's one word to describe the season of life you're in now?
One word, I would say it's consistent or consistency. Just trying to be consistent where I know I need to be consistent, show up and be all there.
What's been the challenge for you with that?
The challenge with that is not being reactive because I'm an entrepreneur. I've got several businesses and it's easy to be consistent when you follow your schedule and everything is lined out. So the challenge is not being reactive when the phone pings and somebody needs something. So that's what I would say.
Yeah, that's good. Marty, I want to know, are you feeling warmed up, dude? You came in ready to go, I feel like.
Yeah, let's keep going.
I want to hear the origin story. What originally pushed you towards the work of helping people confront complacency?
Yeah, so it was a whiteboard. And it was just me realizing that I had gotten kind of somewhere with real estate. I kind of came to a position where I could retire at, early 40s and cruise and go on autopilot. And I knew that wasn't, I'd kind of done that on a smaller scale in my mid 30s. And I knew I wasn't wired for that. And so I just got a whiteboard out and started making up words and stuff and realized that if I wanted to keep going, I needed to inspire the world. That was the next thing, was to teach and help others do what I'd done. And I realized that Marty Hoffman from Battle Creek, Iowa wasn't anything special. It was just a matter of intentionality and consistency. And so the opposite of that, though, is complacency. And so obviously in this day and age where we're on social media and everything, we got to have a good hook. So Kill Complacency was born on a whiteboard, but it was just a matter of drawing it all out.
What was your first reflection on that as you reached a goal in life, right? Like, we were taught to work towards this so we have enough money, we retire and do whatever we want, which for a lot of people actually kills them, right? Because then they don't have a routine, they don't have goals, they fall by the wayside. What was that first realization you had to fight back against that, even though you'd earned everything you were told you were supposed to achieve?
Yeah, I think it was just knowing that it didn't bring me true satisfaction to go to autopilot, take it easy. I felt like God wired me for bigger, better things. And I think I've always maybe been taught just to, give back. And so the pushback was, number one, I knew it wouldn't make me content. And I knew that it would be this constant pushback on my end. And so I wanted to contribute to that and give back.
Yeah, I think that's so important, especially as we reach milestones in our lives, is to continue to move the goalpost a little bit and adjust to where we are still contributing.
Yeah. Well, I just know, I mean, like you've got this podcast, like you're helping people out that you don't even realize. And I know, Jerrod, at the end of the day, literally the end of each day, I am more fulfilled and happy when I know that I helped people out than if all I did was focus on Marty Hoffman and what can make him better.
Yeah, that's so true. What would you say, if you had to describe complacency beyond the surface level for our community, what would you say that looks like?
A word I love to use a lot is drift. And because complacency isn't necessarily laziness, it's just staying in a current situation and not trying to improve it. I read a book years ago by Napoleon Hill. He's famous for the book, Think and Grow Rich, but a lesser known book is called Outwitting the Devil. And it's like a podcast interview with Satan where Napoleon Hill interviews him. And the word that Satan uses over and over and over is drift. That's how he'll get the public schools. That's how he'll get the home. That's how he'll get the church. That's how he'll get people at work. He'll just get them to drift. And if he can get them to live without definite a purpose, which aligns with your podcast, then he knows he can get them, because he'll just kind of like boiling that frog. He'll get them a little bit at a time. And so a definition for complacency that we often talk about is drifting. And we've defined that as default. This is what it stands for: default results in forgotten time. So we just go to default mode, in our marriage, in our fitness, in our finances, and we just do the little itty bitty bit, and we never try to seek to improve and live with purpose. And that's complacency.
Why do you think that is so dangerous, especially for men in today's world?
I think it's dangerous because, well, number one, we won't live with purpose, right? We won't seek to improve our environment. We won't seek to improve our marriages. we won't seek to add back. But two, comfort is an enemy, and that's what we're really giving into there. And I know we think we want comfort, but comfort really becomes the enemy because it's at the end of hard that we grow and have that purpose. And so for men, we need to be challenged. And I think that's something you'll see, because I do think to some extent this is a spiritual war, as Napoleon Hill brought out. But I do think that something you'll see that is attacked in manhood, I mean, talking about men, is everything that makes a man. So there's less people hunting now because we have video games. There's less people getting married and whatnot because we have pornography. Like there's all these things that are attacking manhood, that are a false sense of the real thing. So I think for men especially, we need to push back on it. I think it's important. And I think if we don't, like, we're just going to crumble.
Would you say even just the idea that our life is supposed to be comfortable and our life is supposed to be adverse free and friction free also contributes to that drift, right? Because we're actually avoiding the very stuff that makes us grow, which is the hard parts of life.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right. And kind of to your point, like we're not going to live purposeful if we're not willing to do hard things. And if we just want to stay comfortable, then, I mean, you never would have started this podcast because, I mean, I don't know your background, but at some point that was a decision because you wanted to add value and you wanted to share your mindset with other people. And so you did something hard and you figured out how to be a podcaster. And so that's what we have to do. And when we're 2 and 3 and 4 years old, like that's all we do in life is do hard, do hard, do hard. And our growth is exponential. But for some reason, when we get older, the older we get, we think, oh, I'm done. And we get comfortable and we don't do those hard.
Yeah, I'm just pondering that because I think I 100% agree. As we get older, it's easy to shut down the hard part of life and get comfortable. But what about the danger? What do you think on this, Marty? What about the danger of allowing that to affect how you parent the next generation and having them avoid hard things as well?
Can you expound on that a little more? The danger of getting comfortable as parents?
Getting comfortable as parents and modeling that for your kids to where they become risk adverse as well.
Yeah, it's that's why they say, wealth only takes, last one generation? And it's because those kids get comfortable and they never learn hard work and how to grind. And it's not taught. Very, very few people, hold it for generations. And it's because of that. So I think it's huge. Like, I don't know. That's what we aspire for, right? We aspire to give our kids this big inheritance, but I don't think we're giving them the true gift. I think the true gift is work and sales and being kind
and failing and getting back
failing.
up.
Yes.
Right. So if you had to say, like, as an example in today's culture where you just see complacency and you're like, okay, this is a perfect example of what I'm talking about, what comes to mind?
I think the biggest distraction is the phone. Mine actually have the case, Kill Complacency. I think it's a huge distraction. And I think if anyone disagrees, just look at your screen time. And look at your top 3 uses of your screen time. And you'll find out that 3 hours or 4 hours that you don't think you have in a week to start a podcast or do a side job, you actually do because you're on social media or you were playing a video game or whatever. So I think complacency shows up in a lot of ways, but I think an easy way to kill it is start focusing on your screen time.
Yeah, no, that's so true, man. And that's an interesting thing generationally because, like, you say kids are on their phones all the time, but then you look at adults that are parents, they're on their phones all the time, and grandparents are on their phones all the time. You're like, okay, it's a whole thing.
It's addicting. It's very addicting.
And it's meant to be.
Yeah. That's how they make money. And we think we're the product is for us, but really they're just selling to us. I mean, it's the sales.
Yeah. Is there a moment in your life since you went on this journey where you look back and go, wait, complacency almost got me right here. I caught it, but it almost got me. I was in the grips of it.
Lots of moments. Lots and lots of moments. A big one for me was almost losing my marriage. Mostly because I was selfish and, well, honestly, I was away traveling and thinking providing was the same as presence and not engaging my wife. And yeah, she had a hard conversation with me and told me she was thinking about leaving and we had to make some changes, but it was complete complacency on my part. Not taking care of my spouse and not loving her like I should and not doing the things we did when we pursued each other as soulmates and dating relationship. So that's an obvious one I think we can all relate to. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a very common one, right? Especially for men. We think we're providing and we're working all these extra hours and the bank account's full and we have the nice house and the refrigerator's full. But when we get to the end of life, right, most of the time your kids aren't going to be like, Dad, I wish you'd worked more.
Nobody's going to say that.
Right. But we get so caught up in it, man.
We get caught up because we get validation there. That's what makes us feel good. That's what I think.
So
for me, I love to work.
Yeah. I think there's a way you can love to work, but also balance out loving the things around you and the people around you.
Yeah. Well, and that's why in our book, we talk about the 7F framework. So that we're not just focused on our finances, but we're focused on our family and our friends and having fun and fitness and our future self, planning and growing and becoming better. Because we want to have that balance. We want to integrate that into our life and not just be super fit and super wealthy, but have no family and friends. So,
yeah, I love that. I love that you have fun in there because I think that is one of the things that we've robbed our lives of so much is that this journey should actually be fun and enjoyable.
Yeah. Yeah, and I will tell you, that's the one I struggle with. I told you I love to work and I have a hard time relaxing. And I feel so much, if I was being vulnerable, I feel so much like I have to earn it so much. And I do earn it all the time, but it's never enough. And there's always more to do. So I struggle with that one. And to your listeners, like they might struggle with a different one. But what I have to do, Jerrod, is I have to put it on the calendar. And I have to protect it like it's another rock. Like for my wife and I, we have date night on Monday night. Well, for me, a lot of my fun and relaxation happens Sunday. And it might be a walk. It might be planning. It might be just resting. We might do a quick weekend trip with the kids or something. But I have to put it on the calendar. Otherwise, there's no let up for me.
Here's something interesting, Marty, because I had a whole career in government work prior to all this. And the model was just work harder, right? Just work harder, just do more in the time you have. And then, I launched my own business 10 years ago now. And I found that I am more successful when I fight the urge to work harder.
Yep.
Right? Like if I'm struggling to write something or I'm struggling to come up with this project or this course, the more I sit and try to force myself to work harder, the less likely I am to produce the result I like. Versus getting up and going, wait, these 2 hours aren't meant for you to work harder. Go for a run, go for a hike, just go do something different. So I guess I want to ask you, like, have you found that to be true for you as a serial entrepreneur, somebody who's always creating? that sometimes keeping your nose to the grindstone and going harder maybe isn't the right answer to creating the work outcome you're looking for.
No, I agree 100%, 1,000%. And I can tell you that when I take rest, when I go on a vacation or whatever, that's when all the ideas come to mind, whether it's a new business or adjusting in a business. But if I'm work, I never make the corrections, right? Because all I can see is the next reactive thing. And that is why, to your point, that is why it is so important to set aside fun and rest and restoration. And that's why it makes us better, not worse. But it seems hard, it seems like it doesn't work, but it's powerful.
Almost a guilt associated, right? Like, wait, why am I not working right now? Like, why am I out here just running in the woods enjoying this when I should be working? And I think you got to give yourself grace and move past it. Like, you're more than the work thing. And the work thing's going to be better the better you take care of yourself.
Yep. Yeah. No, and I've talked to my wife a lot about this. Mom guilt. A lot of my wife coaches women, and a lot of women won't work out because they don't. It's exactly the same. Looks a little different, but they won't take care of themselves because they feel guilty that they need to be with the kids. And again, it's work. But it's a real thing for women.
Oh, dude, the whole women thing is like a whole nother animal, at least my layman's opinion, because of the judgment women put on other women.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, it must be nice.
Right? Like, oh, you must have it so good. Look at you. And you're like, dude, like, that's always been a hard one right there. What I want to ask you about the podcast. What have you learned from the guests who've come on and shared those hardest moments? What are some things you learned about yourself by putting yourself in the position to share those stories?
Well, there's tons of things I've learned. Being a podcaster has tons of benefits. Like, number one, you suddenly feel good about asking somebody that there's no way you would ask them otherwise. But so you get access to people that you know what I mean? I know you do. So that's really cool. Like, getting to connect with people that otherwise would not be in your circle. Another big hack that I've learned is, I love to ask for quotes and books, and the amount of information that they want to share that has influenced them. Like, I can grab those things and learn from them. But I think one of the bigger things, at least it has been impactful, is just ask. Like, so many times we get hung up on asking somebody to do something. And as a podcast interviewer, like, just ask somebody or create a team to ask somebody and become accessible and whatnot. So I've been blown away by some of the people we've had on our podcast just because we asked and they said yes.
Yeah. And I think at least something from me, man, is something you said is so true, is you get access to people that your paths aren't going to cross anywhere but here.
Yeah.
And they get to share their recipe for success, whatever it looks like to them. And you get to do it in a non-threatening manner, right? There's no competition here. It's literally just curiosity. And I guess that would be, when people ask me, like, what's the best thing about having a podcast? I just tell them one word: curiosity.
Yeah, for sure. You get to ask questions.
And you get to listen and learn. And like, I've never had your journey, Marty. So now, like, this is a whole way of me taking your lessons and now I can apply them to my life.
Yeah. Do people ask you that a lot, Jerrod?
I've had quite a few, because we're 300 and something episodes in 7 years. I've been doing this every Thursday for 7 years. So yeah, kind of like, why do you keep doing it? What do you get out of it? And I'm curious, man. I just want to learn from people, and I'm
Yeah.
not. I know I don't know a lot of things, but you do. Like, you know something I don't know, so I
Yeah.
want to talk to you about this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what better way in today's world where divisiveness is the theme of the day and everybody's out to hate everybody else and nobody can get along? What better way to go, what? You know what? I didn't even know Marty before I saw this email and I researched you. And now we're going to have a civil human conversation. Doesn't mean we agree on everything. Doesn't mean we'll see it the same way. But we can still have respectful conversation to go, wait, he's a good human that I can learn something from.
Yeah. Well, and we can take that recording and empower other people to better their life and live on purpose. That's what I love about it, the leverage. I think if I were to use one word, it'd be the leverage. The leverage of taking a conversation with you and empowering and encouraging other people to run with it.
Yeah. It's so interesting you say that, Marty, because here's an example, right? And for the community that listened to the interview I did with Wes Martin, I think it'll air about 3 weeks before this one. You'll have already known this story. But Marty, for you, this is the unbelievableness of a podcast is I did my first 100-mile ultra race 2 weeks ago.
You did. Congratulations.
Thank you. And it
Which
was
one?
the Copper Kings 100 up in Butte, Montana. Okay. It's an amazing race, amazing community. If you're ever into that thing, I highly recommend it. But here's the thing is my son and I were going to do it together. We had trained and it was supposed to be a father-son bonding over this shared suffering, right? And he ends up getting hurt and has to drop out at mile 36 or 37. So now I have a whole section by myself. I get to like mile 44 and I'm prepared to just drop. It'll be further than I've ever run, but I just don't have the heart to do it by myself. I had all these expectations of me and my son having this time, and my wife and his sisters were our crew, and my sister, like we had this whole family thing going. And I was just heartbroken, dude. I was like, man, I didn't come here to run now 60 some miles all by myself. It wasn't a thing. But here's the thing, Marty. We get to the Homestake aid station. And Jamie Martin, who I had on the podcast earlier in the year, who had won, she was the women's winner of the race the first year, but she couldn't run this year. So her and her husband were volunteering at the aid station. They had kept tabs on me, even though we'd only met over the podcast. I come in, they check in on my family, and they can see my spirit's done, and I'm talking about maybe just calling it and saving everybody the heartache. Her husband, Wes, goes and gets on his running shoes, changes out, and then volunteers to go run the next 30 miles with me overnight.
Wow.
Right?
That's love,
so
dude.
I just had his episode. You have to go back and listen. There's a couple before yours. It'll air in August as well. So I did an episode where I recapped my experience and the heartbreak of things. And then the joy of sharing that time with him and not quitting, but actually getting a belt buckle and finishing my first 100 on our first try. Then I had him on to share his experience. But it goes all the way back to what you said. And my youngest daughter was there. And what she said is, Dad, this is the power of the communities you've built.
Mm-hmm.
Is that people will help each other in their time of need. You don't have to ask for it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Now, what if you and I didn't even take an opportunity to do this? Right? Then that same scenario, I'd have been a complete stranger to people. Maybe they would have helped, maybe not.
Probably not.
Right? Which is most of society, probably not. But the fact is, like,
well, they wouldn't have known the story. I mean,
right.
Wes put on his shoes because he believed in you and knew your story.
Yeah. And that was your power.
That was your first 100-miler.
Yeah, dude.
And you had a mental, I mean, I can't imagine that wall on your son. I mean, that's huge. Like there's always something in the ultra running, right? There's always something that comes up that you have to overcome. That's a big one though.
I mean, I was heartbroken, right? And not only heartbroken for him not being there with me, but also what pressure as a dad did I put on my son? Is he okay that he couldn't finish? Would it be better if I dropped somewhere altogether so nobody finish it? You know what I mean? Like kind of like that complacency thing, right? Like what's the easy thing to do here versus what's the right thing. But him and I had agreed that before the race, that if one of us had to drop, the other had to finish. So like we
Wow.
knew, we had an expectation, because it's 100 miles. You don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, for sure. What was the furthest you'd ran before?
30. Dude, I'm a glutton for punishment, Marty. I had done one half marathon. Then my son and I did a 30 miler that went terrible. And then we signed up for a 100 miler.
Wow.
But
I'm training right now for 100. I'm on the wait list for Javelina. And I think it'll move up and I'll get in. So it's kind of weird because I'm training, but I'm not on the list.
Yeah. Have you done 100 before?
It'll be my first. I have done 100K, 62.
Yeah.
But not 100.
Good for you. Well, not to get too far ahead of our episode here, because I still got more questions for you, but we'll be in Arizona in the winter. So you get in and need some help, let me know. Maybe I can make my way up there and run a lap
that'd be
with
awesome.
you or something.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because Javelina is nice because it's just a loop.
Yeah, it's a 20-mile loop.
Yeah. So I wanna ask you, what, in your opinion, what does real leadership look like as we fight against complacency sneaking into our lives?
Real leadership looks like being authentic and real, and not letting people put us on a pedestal, but being humble enough to be with our people and be real and authentic and share our struggles and share our wins and lead by example.
Dude, that's so true. And here, I'll share one more story from that race with you. When I came into that aid station prepared to quit and just tell my family we're done, we'll just go have dinner, we'll relax, nobody has to stay up all night. My wife told me, she's like, no, you can't quit at this aid station. You got to make it to the next one, because that's what we knew we were supposed to do. And when Wes came over and volunteered to run with me, I'd never met him. I didn't know him.
Wow.
And I said, yes, I'll take you up on that. And when the race is all over, my youngest daughter shared with me that was the most her favorite moment of the race, because in her words, Marty, she said, like, Dad, you've always been my hero. You're always the strongest person I know. And I never saw you allow anybody to help you before.
Wow.
All right. So 2 things I took away is, one, I know I've talked to them about being vulnerable and asking for help. I know I've shared it, but I clearly never demonstrated it to my kids.
Until then.
Yeah,
that gives me goosebumps.
But you're right. It ties in what you said, right? Real leadership is authentic and real, not perfect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, when we allow ourselves to think we are and allow other people to think that we are, we lose our leadership. We lose our, in my opinion, like, you got to be real, you got to be authentic, and you got to lead by example. So you taught your daughter that she really can get help, and it doesn't have to be carry the buck on her own. I mean, now she knows her dad, who she loves and admires, needs help sometime too. So.
Yeah. And I think the other thing that comes to mind for me, Marty, is that you're never too old or too late in your parenting journey or just your life journey to demonstrate new skills or to grow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's what, beyond living on purpose is all about. It's continuing to learn, continuing to grow. Elon Musk, I don't necessarily agree with a lot of his worldview, but he sold PayPal, early 2000s, made a lot of money. I don't know the amount of millions, but it was a bunch. Most people, Jerrod, would have said, I'm out. I'm gonna retire. But he didn't. And he continued to build, and whether we agree with his mission to get to Mars or not, like, he's living on a purpose of trying to get to Mars, and he's creating all kinds of things as a result of that, Tesla and SpaceX and solar companies. And I mean, I don't know how many, the boring company, like, he's got so many things when he could have He could have, and most people would have advised him, now you can retire. You're 35. You sold PayPal. You got 100 million in the bank. Now's the time to be comfortable. But he didn't. So
Yeah. No, and actually, he reinvested it in one of his companies and almost lost it all and was like living on his friends' couches again.
yeah.
Right. So for our listeners, Marty, what habits or practices would you recommend to help ground them in staying intentional and not getting caught up in this drift?
Yeah, something I think you have to do is find a way to, whatever you want to be, whatever you want to become, whatever metric or goal you're setting, you've got to measure it. If you're going to lose weight, get on the scale every day. Like, just that simple act. If everybody got on the scale every day and then wrote it down and documented their weight, like, your weight would move. And it would probably go down because you're paying attention. But that's something we talk about. Like, you want to have weekly date nights with your spouse and improve your marriage? Track it and see if you did 50 this year. You know, you want to increase your finances? Look at your bank account. Every Monday morning, look at your bank account, see where it's at. Write it down and track it. And so that's what I would say, Jerrod. It's just simply track your habits. Track who you want to become, and it will improve. It will make you better. As a runner, you know this. As a runner, Garmin or whatever watch we have makes it so easy to track our mileage and our heart rate and all those things. And I don't know about you, but I can geek out on that sometime, because it's easy available data. But if I'm not on my training and I'm not showing up every day doing like I should be doing, I don't want to look at it.
Yeah.
But that's what I would say. That simple habit of measuring your results will have compound effects into great things in your life.
What if somebody's having trouble selecting the area to start with or identify where they are complacent?
Well, real easy thing to do is they can go to killcomplacency.life and they can take a test that we put together on the 7S. It'll take about 2 to 3 minutes. And that will tell them how balanced they are in regards to those things. I think most people probably know without taking the test. The test is kind of fun if you like those things because it gives you an email and gives you some pointers. But I would say, I think we know. And if we don't know, it's a matter of setting aside some time. We talked about this earlier with fun. Like, set aside some time, go to a place where there's some water and sit on a bench and just think about what you want to be known for in life and then reverse engineer it. Like, you didn't run that 100-mile race without some kind of reverse engineered training plan. You knew there was a date, you knew there was a distance, you knew there was a pace goal, and you reverse engineered that. And you, not only did you put in the runs, but you learned to fuel, you built a community, a team. I mean, there's all kinds of things you did so that you could say, I successfully ran Copper King 100. And you did that. So it's the same.
Yeah. Here's what I always tell people. It's like, I just don't know where to start. Like, I struggle. One thing I tell is go ask your wife. I guarantee she knows where you should start. Guarantee she has a list of things you could start with.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of times I do think, I've often said start with fitness because I feel like it has such compound effect. But another one of my F's is future self. And I honestly think that's almost where you got to start, right? Because you got to be thinking about, who do I want to be in the future? And then you got to show up for those things. So you wanted to run a 100-mile race. So that was your future self, identifying that. And then your fitness kicked in and did it.
Yeah.
But it's fun.
I love future self-reflection.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love past self, thanking my past self for putting me in position that I am today. And I love looking to future self and go, okay, today's self needs to do something that future self's going to be proud of.
Yep.
Marty, where can our audience follow along with you and be part of the Kill Complacency team?
Yeah, we have a webpage, killcomplacency.com. That circle of life test is on .life, but it's also on .com. There's some other like goal setting stuff in there they can have. They can find out about the podcast there. You can find me. Most of my handles on social media is Marty Hoffman, one F and two N's. And they can just reach out, connect. The book, Kill Complacency, you can buy that on Amazon. That's the best place. Print on demand is amazing and powerful. So I'm not going to buy 5,000 copies and have them in my closet. You can get them off Amazon.
I did the same thing. It's been amazing.
Yeah.
Marty, I want to thank you so much for joining us today, from taking time from your busy schedule, and for not only finding the value in your story, but having the courage to share it with the world. And I want to wrap up with one question for you, and that is, what message do you want people to take from this conversation?
I want them to know that they can do it, that they can live a purposeful life, and they can be who they never thought they could be. And in 5 years from now, they can look back and say, I don't even recognize Marty from 2026. Because Marty in 2026 was complacent. And he wasn't fully engaged with his family. He wasn't aware of how fat he was or whatever. Like, that's what I want your listeners to know, is they can do it. They can live on purpose. They can have what they want. And it's out there. Don't know how to do it, man. Just have a conversation with ChatGPT and it will make the plan.
Not too much, man. Use it all our water or something, right? We can't give it too many questions.
Yeah, for sure.
Dude, Marty, what an honor to have you on the show, man. I love your energy. I love our conversation, and I'll watch that Javelina 100 entrance list, and I'll be looking for you on that.
Yeah, for sure. That'd be fun.
So thank you so much for joining us, Marty. Have a great rest of your week, my friend.
Thank you.